As always, everybody, welcome back to Ivy Knows Best. It's me, Eric Ivey, your wonderful host. Today we have a special show, all right, because the term Ivy Knows Best normally just kind of like applies to me, right? But I have two very special guests with me. One being the illustrious Mike Ivey, the man with the wonderful beard, and then right over here with the nice fedora and the beautiful Ivy Knows Best merch, we have Mr. Eric Ivey Sr. himself. Gentlemen, how are you today?
Good man, good. How about you, kid?
I'm doing all right, doing all right. Just a little backstory about these two individuals. Mike is my cousin. Uh, you know, if you guys remember my last show with Dime and Jessica, Dime is actually his cousin as well, my sister, right? Uh, and Dime's father and my father happen to be the gentleman you see here to my left, or my right, however this flips around, Mr. Eric Ivey himself. So, hey, so Mike, so let's start with Mike, man. Where are you from, man? How's everything going? How are you? How you holding up mentally? What's up?
Um, Cleveland, Ohio, of course. Love my city, representative Cleveland. Not a Cleveland sport. Let's start with that, but definitely a native Clevelander. Mentally, I'm doing pretty well, man. I'm holding up, in the state of a pandemic and a lot of the other issues going on right now. You know what I'm saying? It's tough to navigate through, but I'm holding up pretty well. Everything's pretty good on my end.
Right on, right on. And we call Mike the Wise or Big Mike. That's my name for him, right? Because Mike really does have some dope content on this page. Y'all gotta definitely go check it out. Definitely on IG. One of the flyest people I know as well. So if y'all like the gear, y'all also gonna love the message, man. I'm telling you, some really good
Appreciate
stuff there. Also now, Mr. Fly Guy, yourself with the beautiful fedora. Tell me, man. Tell the people about yourself.
Yeah, I'm Eric Senior. And I'm born and raised in Cleveland. I am a Cleveland sports fan, unlike some other folks, and always represent my city, man. So, hey, man, I'm doing good through things. A lot of stuff going on, but I'm navigating through it. And I tell you, man, it's with all this going on, man. It actually has given me a lot of an opportunity to just reflect, man, and just do some little inventory, man, and just kind of really get the opportunity to see where I'm at and just see where just the state of just life, man, and be more appreciative and more in touch with that. So with all that, hey, I'm doing good, man. I like to say it, at 56 years old almost, I'm starting to really live my best life. So, I'm just trying to keep it moving. That's it.
That's what's up. Now, it's crazy. It's wild because we have three sets or decades of sorts of Ivy, right? I'm 32. Mike is about in his 40s,
43.
40, 43, and you're in your 50s. And it's
Right.
crazy, right? To have all three of us together at one time and have the ability to really pass along some real good information, some real good talk, and actually have opportunity to really connect with each other, right? And I think that's a very important thing. So I want to thank you both for coming on my show today before we start getting into all of the the nitty-gritty of everything. So definitely. So let's go ahead and kick things off real quick. So we have a couple current events going on. Obviously, we see the things that's going on in the news, right? It's unfortunate. I think Dom said it. It's kind of a repetitive thing now that we're starting to see. It warms up and people start dying, and African Americans, to be exact, are actually being gunned down now again, even after we've had so many of those last year. Like, what are some of your feelings concerning this? Like what are some things that you're seeing that you kind of want to voice your opinion on? We start with Mike. How you feel about that?
Oh man, it's it's tough, man. It's tough. It's tough because it's like it's almost like it's being normalized.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's almost like it's being normalized, and of course, you want to be compassionate and empathetic, but it's like I don't know. I'm almost starting to see certain people almost become numb to it. Which is crazy, but I don't know. I would like to see some changes, man, some real changes, even starting my honest opinion, like we have to get in a situation where it's more of us policing us.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I've been thinking about it. I mean, let's be honest. I know here in Cleveland, it's not a lot of us in the suburban areas policing them. They're policing them. We're not in the suburbs of Cleveland policing them. You know, I think it should be more of us in our, general areas policing us. I think that would help. I think, there's a huge disconnect between the police and the community.
Mm-hmm.
We don't see the police unless they're riding by or pulling somebody over or they get a call. Like, it's really no police presence in the neighborhood. They don't build relationships with the community, with the neighborhood, with the, at all. And, that makes it shaky because all police aren't bad police. But when you only see one thing being publicized and one thing that's actually happening, it's only one way to take them for the most part. So I think that's a great place to start. We got to start policing us. If that means joining the police force, because it's a stigmatism due to things that have been happening about becoming a police officer. But if it means more of us joining the police force and being, the police, the officers in our neighborhood, I think that's a great place to start.
Right. And I agree with you. I think that's a very important part of it. Yeah, I think that along with training. Me personally, I think a lot of the times the training is lacking, right? And what I mean by that is the training for a police officer, understanding who he is policing, right? So if I'm not a black person and I'm in a black neighborhood, which we're gonna kind of shoot straight out here, if I'm a black person and I'm being policed by a white person who doesn't necessarily understand how things happen on this side, we're gonna have a misunderstanding. Because if he comes from suburbia somewhere where you don't have a regular altercation or a fist fight or people who choose to use their words as opposed to other actions, you're going to have situations like we had recently, obviously just happened right in Ohio, right? And I feel bad for everybody involved, especially the person who died, but also the officer for having to make that decision. And it's very rare that I feel that way because like it was so bang bang, you know what I'm saying? But then when you start seeing other videos of individuals with knives surviving the police themselves and the police not shooting them and tasing them or doing anything, then you're kind of like, well, dang, I get you had to protect that young lady, but it's just really unfortunate that that became so available and so accessible so quickly. You know what I mean? So right behind something that we just slightly felt like we got some justice on, which is the George Floyd situation. So I completely agree with you on that part, Mike. I really do. It's just unfortunate that's happening. Now let's pass it over to Big Eric here, man. What do you think?
I agree. I mean, I look at it from from both ends of the spectrum. For me, having a law enforcement background, I try to look at it from both ends of the spectrum. But it's really no excuse for what we're seeing is going on. And I do agree. What Mike said is that the only way you change is that you have to change things from within. You can't change from the outside. So the stigmatism is out there about being a police officer. We're no longer telling our kids or even putting that out there as an opportunity for kids because see what happens in the inner city a lot of the time is that the child's experience with the police at an early age becomes a bad experience. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that that's all the police faults because say, for example, I can give you an example. If just hypothetically, if my dad is selling drugs or whatever, or doing something illegal, well, when the police blow down on our house and come in, put my dad on the floor, as a young kid, that's my experience of the police. So now mom tells me police got dad, police locked dad up, everything is negative towards the police. So then now the kid grows up with that feeling about the police, and also because the police is not within the community, as well. So I think that does, play a part, but that's no excuse for what we're seeing that's going on, and just keep in mind, this isn't new. It's just publicized now because of social media, video cameras, and things like that. Again, being a police is a difficult job because see, a lot of these decisions that they're it's a split-second decision. It's easy to sit back. I mean, I've been in some situations where, hey, I had to act now and decide how am I going to control this individual. Then I go back and I look at it, or somebody critiques it on tape and says, well, why you do this? You could have did that. You could have did that. I mean, so it's a double-edged sword, man, but we're definitely getting the short end of the stick. And we have to get out here and try to change some legislation, man. And I think the big piece is you got to get on these police forces, man. We have to, because a lot of this stuff is happening in the inner city, man. And it's always been a fraternity amongst police. I don't care if they're black or white. There's been a fraternity amongst them, hey, they stick together through their unions, through everything. So until we can infiltrate and be within that, so that you can have some input on policy making within the police force. I'm talking about policy making, legislation, things like that. It's gonna be it's an uphill battle for us. It really is, and we just got to do better too, man. Within our own community, man, we have to assume responsibility. We have to now, man, unfortunately, we have to assume responsibilities for our own communities, man. I'm not saying protecting them, our community, but I'm just saying the overall environment of our community. We got to assume some of that responsibility.
Right. Yeah. I agree. That both of you make very valid points. That I feel them. I mean, nothing y'all have said is something I can actually disagree with. Ultimately, I think that we do have two fights that we're fighting, right? We have the fight within our neighborhood and the fight within neighborhood / community, whether you live in a neighborhood or not. You're still part of the African American community, or the fight with the people that are supposed to protect us. I asked the question to my sisters in the last episode. I said, who's supposed to protect us from those who protect us? Which is something that we're not taught. You know what I mean? We're never taught that we need to have protection from the police. But the problem is we're seeing that our white counterparts, and no offense to any white folks who watch my show, but the reality is our white counterparts don't have to have that conversation with their children, right? That's not a conversation that needs to be had.
No, not at all. I mean, I remember being younger, and this was like in the 90s. And I started working at Beechwood Mall, which is a suburb. Beechwood is an extremely popular mall as of now, but back in the 90s, it wasn't the primary mall for Black people. And I was working out there, and I'm leaving work. I got expired tags. I'm just trying to get across Richmond Road to get to my apartment. I get pulled over by the police. When I get pulled over and the officer is walking to the car, me coming from where I'm from, I'm like this, hands up.
Mm-hmm.
White police officer gets to my window, flashlight. He looking at me crazy. Why you got your hands up? This is a traffic stop. But where I'm from, I'm like, yo, hands up, visible. He kind of like, man, put your hands down, like, relax. I just seen you got an expired tag, like, but just me being where I'm from and how I know, driving throughout my neighborhood and how, how I grew up. That's all I know. This is how I know how to respond to the police. And that this officer wasn't used to seeing that. He had no understanding of why I even thought it was necessary to put my hands up when this is just a routine traffic stop. You got a bad tag. Where you coming from? Oh, I work at such and such a Beechwood Mall. I'm just headed home. I live in Euclid, Richmond Gardens. Okay, get somebody to take care of that tag for you. But go ahead about your business. But I'm not used to that because I've been pulled over in my own neighborhood, in my own community for routine traffic stops and been pulled out my car for no apparent reason, put against the car, frisked for what is supposed to be a routine traffic stop. Guns drawn and all types of other things. So being raised in that type of environment or in that type of community, we don't know how to take police, let alone, like we said, we don't want to be police. You don't want to be a cop. You don't want to be considered a cop. You don't even want people to play with you like that. Kids probably don't even play cops and robbers anymore. Nobody wants to be the cop.
But I guess my question is why don't they? I guess maybe I'm asking my own question. but we have to get rid of that part of of the stigmatism, is that it's okay to be a cop. It's just only bad to be a bad cop. Because until we become cops and are within that, we're not going, because that's where the moves are made at. That's where the policies are made at. So as I came up through my career, one of the things when I saw a lot of things that I didn't like, and not necessarily, along these lines, but just things in general. And I realized, hey, the only way I could change that is I'm in the room when the decision is made. I'm in the room when the policy is made. So that forced me to want to work my way up through the channel to say, you know what, so now guess what changes the whole dynamics? Because me being the only black in the room, we can't be niggas. They can't be talking about the niggas no more. You know what I'm saying? They gotta be, oh shit, there's a black guy here. So we gotta change. And then I can say, well, nah, if you're thinking a certain kind of way, you know what? Nah, that's not how that works. That works like this. So we have to try to change that with our kids and let them know, guess what? That's a good career. That's a 20-year career, and you sit down somewhere. It's only bad if you're a bad cop. So the good cops, that's because we know, probably all of us know cops. That's our friends probably at some point. So
my uncle and my stepfather was cops.
Right.
So I grew
so
up
those people that we know that are good cops, those are the ones, and they could do this. They don't have to do this on cop time. They could do this on their time. This is a way of giving back to the community, coming back to the community and recruiting young black men, saying, hey, it's okay, but don't get over here and be fucked up.
Right.
Don't be
we
over here and be a witness to bullshit. So that's kind of my take on it.
We need more of their presence in the neighborhood. Seriously, we need to see whether they're black, whether they're white, even the white cops, be present in the neighborhood. Don't just ride by and stare everybody down and give mean looks. Pull up.
Right.
Pull up. Get familiar. Know somebody. Know some people. Let everybody know your name. Not that you just car 513. Not just your chase down nickname. Oh, that's officer. Run them down. Like, get out. Yeah. Be known. Be prevalent in the neighborhood. Get familiar with the people. Like you said, they may not know how to handle certain situations because they're not from that type of environment. Get familiar with the environment. Learn the language. Not just, the verbiage, but learn the language and the movement of the people. That would help a lot.
And I said this, I said psychologically speaking, what happens is we have people who are afraid to be cops, right? They're afraid.
Absolutely.
They're completely afraid. And I say this, being a cop, you don't need to be afraid. I spent 4 years as a military policeman, right? Or security forces of the United States Air Force. And one thing we were taught was you can't be afraid of the people you're policing. The reason why we have these issues, these shoot first type issues, is because we have a set of people who are so afraid of the people that they're policing, right? Whether it's psychologically afraid, whether it's physically afraid, whether it's I've grown up around white people, I've grown up around a different demographic of people. So my set of values and understanding of these people is different. So now I'm going to treat them a certain way, right? All of that plays a very intricate part. And I think that it's because they lack the growth that's necessary for them to become better, right? Because sometimes in order for you to get better, you got to grow. You can't be like, if I come from little racist town, Texas or West Texas, and I move to a city like Houston, where the black population, the Hispanic population are ridiculously large. Same thing with Dallas. I'm not going to have an opportunity. I'm not going to be the most understanding person in the room because I come from this little city where it's dominated by my certain kind of person, and these kind of people don't get opportunities. So I'm going to carry that mind frame over here. And even though you dress me up a certain way and you put a badge on me and you give me responsibility, that don't mean that you change my mind frame. The only thing you've done is giving me a license or an ability to carry out what I feel. And unfortunately, until that changes, until those people grow, we're not going to stop having these misfortunate situations. Now, speaking of growth, just a quick little segue into our next topic here. We've all been young, right? We're all men here. We're all men here. And I remember having a conversation recently with a friend of mine who's a little bit younger than me. He's like 25, 26. and he was asking me this. He said, "Man, what do you do when it's time for you to move on to your next level? Like, how do you teach people to move on to the next level?" I was like, "Well, brother, you got to first grow to your next level. You can't move on to a level that you're not fit for, right? So I can't change my shirt and get into a bigger shirt if I don't have the size to fit that shirt, right? I'll just look like I'm out of place, right? And I often tell people, don't ever be out of place because you want to grow somewhere. Grow into it, right? Get into that role, grow into that spot, right? So how do we grow? How do we view growing into our situations as opposed to just hopping into them?
Well, and I think the biggest thing about growth, man, is that growth is a process. So first you got to understand it's a process and it's steps to everything. So first you have to decide, where are you trying to go? What are you trying to grow into? Where are you trying to grow? And once you determine that, then you have to do some self-inventory and be honest with self, because I think anytime we start talking about growth, the biggest thing is we start with some self-inventory, because you can't move to the next level, just like you said, until you understand where you at, A, and B, understand where you're trying to go. And now you can set the path to get there. And you set that by starting with some self-inventory and being honest with self and say, hey, these are my shortcomings, these are my strengths. But to get to be over here to the next level, then I have to do X, Y, Z. And just understanding that it's a process, and everything that you go through during that process is what enables you to be equipped for that next step. You don't understand it at that particular time because you're going through it and it don't make sense. You know what I mean? But right, when you get to the next step and you look back and say, you know what? That's why that happened. That was showing me something. That taught me something. So that's kind of my thing, man, is just doing some self-inventory with yourself first and understanding where you want to go, and then just try to map it out. You know what I mean? And also just talking to people, man. That's the biggest thing, man. Finding you somebody that's a mentor or somebody that you just respect. Someone that you respect, and you can look at it and say, you know what, looks like that person has traveled a good path. That's somebody I would like to talk to and figure out, how did he get that new car? You know what I'm saying? And then that guy said, man, hey, I had a job, man. I worked, I worked 5, 12-hour shifts a week, man, and paid this. I'm like, oh, okay, so I need to get a job. You know what I mean? So that's kind of my take on it.
Big Mike, your turn. Go ahead, brother. What you feel about that?
I feel like a huge part of growth is being open-minded.
Mm-hmm.
Being open-minded, because not being open-minded things, some people call it being set in your ways, you know what I'm saying, a certain form of stubbornness. It stagnates you. It stunts your growth, you know what I'm saying, as a person. So I think being open-minded, I agree with, what my uncle said, knowing where you want to go. And once you know where you want to go, being willing to take very deliberate steps, in getting there, like very deliberate steps, but being open-minded, being very, how can I put this? Honest with yourself. Mm-hmm. Being very honest with yourself. One thing you said is, you're not going to be able to fit into this shirt, or you're not going to be able to fit into this space if you're not big enough. Mm-hmm. So you have to be honest with yourself. And it's nothing wrong with understanding that it's nothing wrong with not being able to fit at this present moment into a space at this present moment. It's nothing wrong with that. Mm-hmm. Just understand that you can take very deliberate steps, you know what I'm saying, in being able, whether you got to come home every day and drink a peanut butter milkshake, you know what I'm saying, right, to put that bow on, to be able to fit that shirt, there's ways to get there, but you have to be very calculated, very deliberate, and very open, to, advice from other people, things that you may come across. You have to be open-minded, man, and allow certain things to seep in. Of course, we know you can't keep everything. You have to have a filter where you take what works for you or what that's right, you know what I'm saying, and utilize it to your benefit. But yeah, you gotta be open-minded, man. That's a big part of growth. That and reflection. I think reflection helps you grow as well. I think that's one of the things that helped me grow when I really started to sit back and reflect, you know, honestly, you know, look back at things that I went through, decisions that I made, right and wrong decisions, you know, looking at ways I could have handled certain situations different, listening to feedback from people around me and people that I care about and people whose opinion that I value, you know, about certain things that I did. Like I say, I may not agree with everything. I may not take every, you know what I'm saying, and run with it, but you have to listen to around, especially those who, you know, care about you and have your best interests at heart, you know, listening to certain things, you know, that they can tell you about life and certain things they may be able to tell you about yourself. It may have never dawned on you because sometimes we get into a mode where we just living. We just live and we're not taking the time to slow down and reflect, you know what I'm saying, or look at, you know, a certain way that we move. And so it's great to have people around you that may be able to put a hand on your shoulder and say, stop.
Yeah, because you know, man, that's the hardest thing to do, man. Is to self-reflect, self-inventory, and criticize yourself. You see, people say, you know, hey, you got to look in the mirror, but you got to look deeper than in the mirror. You know what I mean? Because when you look in the mirror, what do you see? You only see what's on the external of you. Your biggest problem is what's internally in you. So you have to even look beyond looking in the mirror and look within yourself and be honest with yourself and say, you know what, I'm fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Well, I gotta change some things about how I move. I ain't moving in at the right speed, you know. So I think, yeah, that self-inventory, man, is huge, you know. And hey, man, everybody kind of do it in their own time, you know. Hopefully it don't take you forever, you know, but you know, I think it's just a process.
Man, I mean, a lot of people now not even open to change. I you know, I know a lot of people like that in my personal life, and they say those things. And when I say those things, like, y'all know, man, I'm just how I am. It just is what it is. I mean, this is me. This is how I'm gonna be. You know, you can either take me or you can leave me, but this is just how I am.
I hate it.
The worst kind of person. It's the worst kind of person right there.
I don't like it at all. It's so narrow. It's so shallow.
On my mind.
Right.
I'm gonna just say whatever's on my mind. Why? Who does that? Who just walks around and thinks shit and then just say it? Who does that? A fool.
You just blurt it out.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you ain't gonna have no filter and say, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't just walk through here and say, I hate all white people. And I'm at my job, and my boss is white, and my supervisor is white. You might want to hold that in, player.
Hey, or
hold up when you get to the house.
or you walk in the room and be like, man, look at all these bitches up in here, and there's a room full of women. Like,
right?
Who talk like this? Like, where'd you learn that from? Let me tell you what happened. This is not funny, but it is funny at the same time. Now that we talked about like that part of it, like knowing your room, right? Know who you like in the YouTube space and the podcast space. We always say know who your audience is, right? Know who your target audience is, but you also need to know who your audience isn't, right? So a lot of knowing what you're talking about or who you're talking about is who you're talking to, right? There's a lot of times we all have children, right? I have a teenage daughter. I have a teenage brother named Jordan. Mike, you have a teenage daughter, correct? Right?
Teenage daughter. Yep.
Right. There's times as fathers, right, where when your children say things to you, be like, "Who the hell are you talking to?" Right? Especially at that teenage, you like, did you bump your little head this morning? You woke up and you forgot that you live with me and I pay and I take care. Like that hits every father, right? There's always that one time where you gotta be like, you gotta check your kid right quick. Hey, don't talk to me like that. That's one. Two, do what I told you to do, right? I think that's because our children, like our children are immature, right? They're young. They don't know any better, right? They don't know. You ever seen like a young dude who's so young, he don't got no coaching, but he's wild. He's doing everything you would think of, right? That's a big problem with a lot of our. I'm gonna speak to the idea of our young men, right? That's a large problem with a lot of our young men. Right? Our young women are what they are. That's why they have mothers, right? Their mothers need to be the person instituting that stuff. That's what I believe. I believe as a father, I can't tell my 14-year-old daughter how to be a 14-year-old girl. I can just tell her what I expect of her, right? I gonna be like, hey, look, don't do this because this is what boys think, right? Or don't do that, or don't wear this, or cover yourself, or do this, do that. I can tell her that type of stuff, but I can't tell her how to be. But with our young men, it's okay not to be a crash test dummy. You don't got to do everything that everybody else is doing. Just because everybody else want to die and get shot up, right? You don't got to be that person. You don't have to be. You can live a long life. It's okay to be a square. It's okay. Being a square is perfectly fine because the richest people in the world are squares. The most successful people are squares.
That's one of the big things that we lost along the way. Mm-hmm. That was something that I was growing up in the neighborhood. It was natural. You got more respect for playing your lane. You even got respect from the street guys, the hustlers, the guys that may have been in gangs. The wild boys respected you for being you. So if you meant you were a bookworm from the neighborhood, just like everybody else, but your thing was you were a bookworm, you were a school guy, maybe you were an athlete, maybe you might have even been on the chess team. That was you, that was your thing. If people knew you come from a good family, you got your mother, you got your father, or you got a mother or a grandmother that don't play that, I came up around guys who respected you and they wouldn't allow you to enter their circle. They gonna love you, they gonna hug you, we can hang out, we can kick it, but when it's time for us to do what we do, this is not for you and you can't be around. They didn't change, they didn't try to play you like, dude, this ain't you. We'll get with you in a minute. Now, when we all hanging around, laughing, shoot ball, you be around. But now we about to get into this gangster shit. We gonna catch you, bleed. But like I say, everybody was allowed to have their own lane, and you got more respect. You got less respect when you tried to play a lane that wasn't yours because everybody saw through it and they know it's not you. You didn't get respect for that. You could. It was nothing. But now it's like it's only one group now. It seems like it's only one group. Everybody young and thugging. Everybody want to be young and thugging. It wasn't like that. Like you say, it's cool to be a square. It's okay. May not even call it a square. It's cool to just be regular. Just be normal. Just
be you. Just be you. Just be you.
Cool to just be you. Young fellas, young guys. It's cool to just be you. It's cool. I've lived my whole entire life just being me. And that's the honest to God truth. I always been me. And I got friends from all different walks of life, guys that I grew up with, slept in the bed with, foot to head, all types of guys. I got, two of my closest friends in the penitentiary doing football numbers. I got some of my friends who are some of the most successful people in the United States of America. I grew up with all types of people, but amongst, whether it was the most brilliant, whether it was the biggest thugs, I grew up around most of them, but I got respect and get respect and love from all of them. I can go anywhere in my city, and it's not because I'm a gangster. It's not because I'm known for, being a shooter. That's the lingo nowadays. Not because I'm known for being a shooter or I grew up with this tough exterior where, but I can move around anywhere in my city, any block, any club, any bar. I don't choose to do it, but I can and hop out freely and get a lot of love because people always respected me for being me. People know what I'm about, and I've never tried to portray like I was about anything other than what I'm really about. Being laid back, being cool, putting some threads on, trying to meet some chicks, and trying to get me some bread. That's been my MO my entire life. Never tried to do anything else. And I've done well with it.
Not mad at that at all. I mean, you know what? I think I said this to my son. My son, real cool, laid back. He likes to dress up. He likes to smell nice. You know what I mean? Yeah, I just got him some chocolate cologne.
Come on, that's part of who we are. But anyway, we ain't mean to interrupt you, but you put that out there so we think
No, I appreciate that.
You could just said,
is this Israel we talking about?
Yeah, my son. Yeah, Izzo. He's probably on the other side of that door.
Ivey.
Yeah.
he's a nice smelling guy, right? And so he got his Versace cologne, right? His first Versace cologne recently. And I spray it on him, send him to school, and everybody likes how he smells. And I told my son, I said, son, this is who you are as a person. Be that. Don't switch to be this. Is why I never understood this, right? I never understood this. Kid comes from a good neighborhood, good parents who do all these things for him and show him a certain life, and he copies what he sees on TV. When the funny thing is, the people on TV want to copy what you're doing in the house. They don't want to be out there. Look, being on the corner, being on the corner at 3 o'clock in the morning, dodging the ops, dodging the cops, dodging the shots is not the move. They don't want to do that. They're doing that because they don't really have any other thing to
They
do.
don't want to go home. They don't want to go home, and they don't have a home.
Home's jacked up. So
Yeah,
I'm like,
right.
you come from in the house where life is fine, right? Don't copy the don't all right. Don't go from being Charlie Brown to being Pigpen. For anybody who's old enough to understand that, you understand that Pigpen was a little dirty kid who used to always had the flies floating around him all the time, and he was stinking. Charlie Brown probably didn't smell the greatest, but Charlie Brown definitely wasn't Pigpen.
Right.
The show wasn't about Pigpen. The show was about Charlie.
I don't understand the allure. It seems like it's a allure to a lot of these young guys. Like I say, who like you say, I know some personally who had a wonderful upbringing. Parents did their best in the best position, and it's like they got a little older or at the brink where they felt like they were grown and wanted to live. What they don't understand, a lot of it is a facade going into the music and the music videos. That's like WWF wrestling. Let's start there.
Right.
Back to me. Let's turn the camera back to me. I had a friend, my best friend is really a gangster. And I remember we used to ride around all the time. And I'm like, bro, Bobby Womack, Usher, Mary J. Blige, like, why are we listening to this, bro? You know what he told me? He said, man, I don't want to listen to that. I don't want to listen to no gangster rap. I don't want to listen to no. I'm living it.
Right, exactly.
I'm about to ride around and play this Usher Confessions in smooth. I'm living it. And we've also had conversations where he told me, bro, this is not what I want to do.
Well, part of it, man, part of it is that we have glorified the consequences of those actions. So what I mean by that is that when people go to the penitentiary and stuff and shit, they glorify that. They send home pictures. I'm chilling. All of my boys down here. This ain't shit. I can do this standing on my head. Da da da. We having a good old time down here. We got drugs. We got this. It's just like being home, but it's not. You idiot. Hey, there ain't no women around.
Right.
We showering with other folks, and somebody telling you to do this and do that. So we've glorified the consequences. We don't come home, or we don't send stuff home, or when they see something, it's a picture. We all throwing up the signs. Somebody taking care of you. You got everything that I got on the outside except your freedom. But we're not talking about the freedom part. They're not even. That's not registering. All they registering is that the picture. Oh, he got his Timbs on. He got the new forces on. Really?
But you know why? You know why they don't equate for the. They don't equate. I don't mean to interrupt you. The reason why they don't equate for the freedom is because they locked in their mind anyway. They in prison in their mind anyway. They in prison in their own circumstances anyway. So the only difference to them between is the facility. That's the only difference. So that's why they dress up and look all weird and look all crazy, do their thing. But then they end up going to prison and be like, oh man, I'm home. No, you're not home, stupid. Prison is not your home. These people, like, how does your heart and your soul in the no, now wait a minute. Now listen. I'm pretty sure we all have significant others. Okay, Mike, I don't know. I'm not sure if you have a significant other or not. But if you have a significant other, this part, you might want to ask her to leave the room. Because the reality of the situation is this. We do everything for women. Okay? Outside of doing it for ourselves. Getting money, getting attention, and taking care of our children. Right? As men, that's kind of what our life revolves around. I don't know when it switched for the younger crowd to impress everybody else, to impress each other, to impress. First and foremost, we both dirty. I know when you sweat, your nuts stink and all the other stupid shit that goes on with men. Why in the hell do I want to be locked in a room with you, not big enough to support one person? You know what I mean?
Not just do it once, but do it repeatedly, over and over and over again. Everybody makes mistakes, but you're gonna just keep doing the same thing over and over again, you must like that. You know,
you must like being butt naked around other people. It's prisoner
Bro,
of mind theory.
it's mental. They lock into it.
But you know what you think about that, man? These can't be weak people because to survive under those circumstances, you can't be weak-minded. So you have to have a strong mind. It's just you using your strengths in the wrong, in the wrong way. I've watched some of these people be great writers, great, they sit up and write law and do motions and shit. I'm looking like, damn, dude, you should like be a legal aid or shit, maybe just be an attorney,
Yeah.
But steering it, they using they strengths in the wrong way. They have,
Yeah. It's nuts. It's insane. Now I do have a question. We were talking about fashion earlier. Now which one of y'all got the better style? I think the people want to know, because if you go listen to me, folks. These are my people, and I love them. They both have better style than I do. Okay, so I'm gonna give y'all that off the top. Okay, so
we
which
both
one?
gonna say the same thing, Eric.
So what's the answer then? You tell me what the answer is, so I can know what he's going to say.
The answer is that we have two different styles.
That's safe. That's too safe for me. Go ahead, Mike.
But
Mike, he was super safe with that one.
That's safe. That's safe. Okay, I'm gonna say it like now. In my mind, this is Ivey knows best. We got Ivey men here. So now, in my mind, I looked at it like this, because out of this bracket, you had my dad, you had Uncle Randy, you had Uncle Eric. I was the young jit. So now in the family, it's like I look at it like Jordan and LeBron. We both got it. It's no question. It's really about your preference, because Jordan and LeBron are two totally different ball players, but they're both great. So it's really, it could go either way. But our I ain't gonna say our styles are totally different, but they're very different. You know what I'm saying? Because I would say the base is the same. The base is the same. We both understand fashion. We understand fit. We understand the essential things that you should have. We understand that black shoes don't go with everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, we both are very particular, very meticulous. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So the basis is definitely the same. And then a lot of the basis, it's just like, we all know that LeBron grew up watching Jordan. We know that. So there's going to be a lot of things that you see LeBron, especially in his younger years, trying to do that he got from Mike. So it's you have to know that I grew up, we've been like this since I've been born. So you have to know that I grew up watching, my uncle, you know what I'm saying, before I was even old enough to buy my own clothes. You know what I'm saying? When he was buying me clothes, I grew up watching him and, wanting to emulate him. And, you know what I'm saying? So I could tell you, I probably could remind him of outfits that he had that he may not even remember.
Here's one I knew. Here's one I knew he had the sauce. I'm gonna tell you when I knew he had the sauce. I was watching. He was on TV, right? He's like, "Hey man, I got on these Ferragamos, man," and dude accidentally stepped on the shoe. He didn't overreact, and he was like, "Man, how you gonna step on my Ferragamos, man? You ain't got no respect." I was like, "Oh, look how he was so laid back with the answer that I knew for a fact he had 6 more pair in the closet." He wasn't. I ain't tripping about these. It's just the audacity of you.
Yeah, like
step on my shoe, right?
Yeah.
We
actually went to he made me go visit the Ferragamo store after this. And whenever I seen the prices, I was like, nah, I'm cool. I walked out. As soon as I walked out, I say, what? It's cool. I went ahead and closed the door. I didn't even walk all the way in. I got 3 feet. I got like 3 feet into the store. And I turned right on around, walked out. Because I know it's not my time yet. It's not.
But that's what you created in Israel, and you don't realize. You're not really creating it in them because it's coming.
It's there.
Yeah, it's there. And the great thing is that, Mike is risky, man. Mike plays on the edge. Mike is over the edge when it comes to the risk in fashion. I'll tap a little bit and back off, and it's usually because I done saw something something that he did and saying, well, I can't do it all the way right there, but I can get close to it.
Like, I
if I
can't
go
go
all the way, they're gonna say,
I can't go all the way, Mike, but I can go portion of Mike. I'm gonna tell you something about Mike right quick. Now, me and Mike don't really know each other like overwhelmingly well, right? But every time I see Mike's post, I'll be like, yo, I'm not mad at that jacket. I'd be like, I'm not mad at that jacket at all. I ain't mad at that shirt. I like how you put that together. Now I keep it to myself. I'm not gonna post it on there because I don't want nobody to be seeing what my intent is on the page. But I'll be scouting both of y'all pages to see exactly where I'm supposed to be and how to get there. I ain't there yet, but I'm gonna figure it out. I promise you, I'm gonna figure it out. All right, I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna figure out what y'all formula is. All right. So, what makes fashion such a big part? Next question. We're gonna move forward. What makes fashion a big part of what you do? You know what I mean? Explore. Obviously, you work within fashion.
well, I think, man, to me, when I look good, I feel good, man. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? When I look good, when I know when I walk in the room, I lit that room up. I feel you watching. But I think the biggest thing is that I just feel good when I do that, man. When I look nice and I've been doing it for so long, when I look nice and I put on something nice and I feel good, man. It really does. And then, I always say, and Mike know this too, man, I came up so poor, I ain't have shit. So when you get to walk around with holes in your shoes, man, and by the grace of God, I've been blessed. I don't have to do that no more. So I don't plan on wearing out no more shoes. That's a thing of the past. So, but I just like to feel good, man. It ain't really never for nobody else. It's I just feel good when I do it. I not to accept a compliment as a compliment, but I enjoy when somebody say, "Hey, you look nice today." Oh, I appreciate it. And keep it moving. And sometimes yesterday I might have had 3 or 4 guys, man, just saying, "Damn, brother, you sharp today." Hey, man, thank you. I appreciate that. And I extend that same thing to other people. So I just looking good. I feel good. I'm about to go get dressed up right
While
Yeah,
we're talking about it, right? How about
yeah.
you, Mike? What drives what drives you fashionably wise?
Fashion wise, I don't know. With me, I kind of, I was kind of, I was kind of born into it. Honestly, I was born into it. Like my mother, cold piece of work.
now. Don't play no
Like,
games.
yeah, my mother, cold piece of work. So, I'm not like real talk, true story. Like I was, you know, 3 and 4 years old, even going to school, like kindergarten, I was, you know, Pierre Cardin button down, Pierre Cardin cardigan, bow tie, tucked in, you know what I'm saying? Crease slacks. Like this is how I'm going to school at 5 years old. There's no dress code here. All my friends got on dungarees and the dun-to-duns, but I'm going to school every day, like, you know,
All the way
dressed
there.
like, yeah, collar bar. And if I don't got on the collar bar, I got on the tie pin, you know? So, you have my mom, you know what I'm saying? Then my mom's brother, you know what I'm saying? My Uncle Kenny. And then when you shift over to my Uncle Eric, like I say, it was, a thing. Like my father was sharp. And then you had my Uncle Randy, where it's like, when you ask people like, who was the best, it's really hard to, even out of the Ivy men, it's really pick your flavor, because you might meet people who've known the Ivies for years and they may tell you Randy was the best.
Hmm.
I done heard people say like, Randy had it when ain't nobody had it. You know what I'm saying? So some people might say Randy. So, seeing, Nelson, seeing Uncle Randy, seeing Uncle Eric, like I kind of was thrust into it. And then, as I got older, it go back to something you said. We do everything for the girls. We
Yeah,
do everything for the girls.
I forgot about that part. Hey, and
He's
remember this, Eric. And this is when I was probably about 19 years old. I think I'm overseas at the time. I'm in Korea, man. So the big thing then was everybody had to have a nice sweatsuit. I mean, you could get a sweatsuit made any kind of way that you want. You know what I was doing? I'm about to get these custom made suits. That's what I'm about to design my own leather outfit. My coming back.
Listen. This used to be so crazy, and I remember this vividly. When he used to come home on a leave, he used to have, I don't know how he used to pack that many clothes in his car to come home for 4 days, 3 days. I'm talking about garment bag after garment bag to figure out what I'm gonna wear for, like I said, 3-4 days max. Like I'm talking about custom made leather suits, riding boots, full length leather jackets, the jewelry, like everything was there. So like I say, me being young and seeing this, and that's another thing, man. I had tying that in, fashion is important, the look, you know what I'm saying? Being presentable. We all know that, the look is the hook. So you want to be presentable, but tying that into this, seeing my uncle drive a certain car when I was younger, you know what I'm saying? Come back from being in the service with the new Maxima when Maximas first became a thing, you know what I'm saying? He got the clean Maxima with the nice system in it. He got the tapes, wasn't even no CDs. So he got the box, the little box with all the new tapes in it. Boom, boom, in the back seat. And we riding around with him and 3 times dope. He got the jewelry on. He doing all of these things that I'm seeing him do from being in the service, from working. But it's the same thing that the dope boys is doing. But he ain't selling dope though. You know what I'm saying? So when he coming through,
his hustle. Right.
When he coming through like that, it's letting me see. My mother's already telling me, on top of telling me, a lot of ways she's overcompensating. She's buying me everything under the sun. One, because I was already spoiled. Two, because that's when the influx of selling crack was coming in. She didn't want me to sell crack. She didn't want anybody to be able to offer me, hey, take this and do this and you can get this. She like, you ain't got to do that because I'm going to make sure you already got it. So that in combination with seeing my uncle, who I'm thinking is always thought was the coolest, like shit, cooler than the Fonz to me. So to see him to be able to operate the same way they operate, move the same way, get the same respect they get, be just as cool, same amount of jewelry, maybe more, definitely more clothes, just as nice as car. And he doing this from a perspective of a man that's in the service, a man with a career, a job. That was another thing, you know what I'm saying, that taught me like, I want to stay fly, I want to stay fresh, but I don't got to do that. And it's right here in front of my face. And I think that example is a lot of what a lot of young men lacked back then. And it's definitely something that a lot of young men may lack now, having somebody, because you know how young guys are now, man, you can say whatever you want to say. But if you ain't got this, if you ain't got that, if you ain't looking like this, dressing like this, if you ain't got no bands on you hanging out of your pocket where I can see them, bro, what are you really talking about?
Yeah.
Why I had somebody that could tell me, you ain't gotta sell no dope. You ain't gotta stand on that block. You see this, you see this, you see this around my neck, you see what I'm driving, you see my closet, and you know what I do.
Right. You know, it's crazy. Speaking of that, I told him, I think we talked like 4 months ago or so. Man, we're talking. I remember I'd spent the day with him back when I was like 12. Was I like 12, 11, somewhere in there? Yeah. And actually, I still have his pinky ring that he gave me, right? And he said, he said he was looking for it, and I was like, I have it. I actually know it's funny. My son has it, but I won't give it to my son until he's old enough to actually, hold on to it. So,
I think
kind of unique.
A nugget ring. He gave me a nugget ring with the diamond in it, and he gave me a onyx, the black face ring with like the little three diamonds on the side. I think he had like 3 little diamonds in it. Yeah.
He was giving away jewelry. That's how you know he had it. He was just giving it away. He's like,
just giving away. You said you was 11 and 12. I was like around that age, like 11, 12 years old. Like, yeah.
He's like, check this out, yo. This is real nice, right? I want you to have it. That's exactly, yo, so smooth. I was telling my homeboy, I said, man, he talks to me so smooth. I be feeling like he's trying to pimp me or something, like get me into something, like convince me. I was like, man, I know this is nice, but I don't know. He's like, hey, it's all good. George gonna put it on. Fuck, like, looks nice on you. Now go swim.
Go ahead, hit the pool.
Go get that bread.
You feel me? I was like, did he just put me on a stroll or something? Like, I remember swimming away thinking like, I'm about to go swim because he told me to go swim.
Right. I know this got to be what I'm supposed to be doing right now.
Like this is
I
just want to make
appreciate
sure.
the love, though, y'all.
I just want to make sure I swim the right way. So he's impressed with my swimming acumen. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
But man, it's crazy when you kind of think about it, right? Like just how through time, things don't change. You know what I mean? Just the same thing, right? So like I remember giving it to my son. I'm not as smooth as he is with that one. Like I didn't have the same demeanor. I said, hey son, you want to see something cool? And he's like, yeah. I was like, hey, yo, check this out. And he's like, oh, that's cool. Can I have it? I was like, you can have it, just not yet. No, put it in my because I have actually big old jewelry box.
Well, hold it for you.
I was gonna keep it in here. Don't touch it until you get old enough.
I appreciate that though, man. I appreciate the love.
Oh, for sure, man. You got to pass it. You got to pass down what you can pass. And I told his mother, I was like, hey, look, you got so much jewelry. You got 3 daughters. You got to part that out.
Hey, man, I just want to say, man.
Yeah, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still. We still here.
Yeah, I lost you for a quick second. What was the last thing you said?
Hello.
Hey, Mike, you still there? Y'all still with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Mike, you so still? I thought you
here.
were frozen, bro. Mike has mastered the ability to be invisible, folks. He just chilling, just right there in the cut. Down this group. Speaking of my son, come here, boy. Stand up. I'm crawling around on my floor.
What up?
Say hello, son.
What's up, Israel? How you doing? Hey, Israel, how you doing? You got a birthday coming up in a couple of days, right?
Mm-hmm.
Gonna be 7, huh? Okay.
All right, say hello to the people, son. You're actually on the internet. This is going on YouTube. Say hi. Say hi, YouTube. Welcome to Ivey Knows Best.
Welcome to Ivey Knows Best.
That's right.
Okay. All right.
My man. Appreciate you. Don't skate. And
That's good stuff. That's good shit.
Yeah, for sure. So, hey, look, I know y'all gentlemen got yourself an action-packed day ahead. So, what do y'all got planned for the day before I cut y'all loose?
It's gonna sound crazy, but I'm going out shopping a little bit.
That don't sound crazy.
That don't sound crazy. It sound like right up your. Sound like something you would do.
Right.
Hey, I gotta.
That's like something you have normalized.
Hey, I gotta go find my grandson something for his birthday.
Hey,
That's a good one.
Hey, good. That's a smart move, man. He's gonna appreciate it because he does not like to not look nice. That's his thing.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I'm going out shopping to get my grandson something for his birthday.
Man, I got a 7-year-old too, and he in fact watches.
Oh, see, it's crazy. That's crazy. Hey, and I tell. Hey, listen, that's Mike. That's gonna be expensive for you because watches, much like cigars, have a certain class. You know what I mean? That goes with them, and you got to pay for that amount of class that you want to put on that wrist.
He already throwing in. That's the first thing he gonna check out when he see you. He want to see what your timepiece look like. I'm
like, man, it's just an Apple Watch, dog. I ain't nothing serious. This might even be the old one, bro. Like, I don't even know.
He gonna want to know what it do.
Dude will be like, hey, what's that? Let me see that. Let me what that do?
hey, scroll down. Show me how that works. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I can respect that.
Yeah. I'm digging in today. I'm playing it. I'm playing the house today, man. I'm about to do some writing. I'm working on this book. So I'm about to dig in and do some writing today.
Tell us about it. Tell the people about it, Mike. Tell them about it. What is your book? This is the platform for you to push your stuff out.
Well, the book is called Victim of a Bright Idea. So it's basically the 60-second clips that I post on Instagram. It's basically the extended version. It's the extended version. So the twist to the book is it's gonna be interactive, so to speak. So it's like you read the chapters, but it's not gonna be one of those books where you just read the chapters and push it to the side or maybe pass it off to somebody else to read, because in between each chapter, it's gonna have a few pages where you're gonna have to do a little bit of work. a little bit of writing. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna relate to the chapter, how you viewed the chapter, what you took from it, maybe what you didn't, like a workbook, kind of a book and a workbook combination. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be real interesting. It's gonna be real interesting. So, you know, that's what I'm working on right now. Between that and probably come up with my posts for next week. You know, I try to stay consistent with that. Come up with my posts for next week. That's about it for me today.
Oh man, so
What about
first and
you?
foremost, well, I'm gonna tell you exactly what I'm gonna do. But before I do, anybody listening to this, go pick that book up when it drops. And if you happen to be at Nordstrom's in Cleveland, Ohio, make sure you go visit the man with the fedora because he's gonna get you right. All right, for sure. You understand? Now, what I'm gonna do today, obviously, I don't have a choice in my moves today because we're gonna celebrate my son's birthday. But before I do need to go pick up some Tom Ford ombre leather. Okay, it's my new favorite scent. I like to wear it to sleep, ladies and gentlemen. So Tom Ford, if you want to sponsor this video, you know, it'd be great. But oh, speaking of sponsors, but before I get to that, definitely that's what I'm gonna do today. Jump around at a trampoline park, feed kids cupcakes, come in here and become a trampoline for my kids and let them jump all over me.
Do you do cake in the face with the kids on their birthday?
My best say they better not do it to me. I don't like, you know how hard to get cake out of a beard.
You do?
Yeah, sometimes I'm like, put that
Yeah,
was
I smash cake in all my kids' face on their birthday. I got
yeah, for sure. I mean they like really like expensive cakes, so I got to get them like a smash cake separately than the cake that they want. Yeah, because I'm not gonna mess up this $60 cake because y'all want to be silly. You know what I'm saying? That's not what we're doing. And so, but definitely got to get myself the ombre leather today. Get jumped around on a little bit. And oh, speaking of sponsors, that's Blink by Jess. That's one. Actually, if you ladies like getting your eyelashes done, you happen to be in the North Carolina area, Blink by Jess, the sponsor of this video. Also, another sponsor of our video is oh my God, y'all gonna have to forgive me. Own It Enterprises. You know I love y'all. Own It, Mr. Own It CEO, all those folks over at Own It Enterprises. Thank y'all very much for sponsoring this video. So definitely, that's something we're gonna get into. So if y'all ever do want to go and visit Mike or my father over here, Eric Ivey, you can go visit them on Instagram. What's your Instagram tagline, Mike?
at Ivy League, IVEY League _ Mike Ivey.
Which I'm gonna get myself a couple shirts from you, Mike. You gotta holler at me, get the ones with the extra chest and back in it because I'm a little wider than usual, right? You feel me?
Got you.
Hey, and for you, hey Pops, what's your
Yeah, y'all can get me at Eric Ivy 5. You know, Eric Ivy, just like little Eric. I'm Eric Ivy. Get me at Eric Ivy 5. Check out some posts, see what we wearing these days. Put out. I can do some personal styling for you and some personal shopping. So that's something we kind of dipping into, doing some little personal styling and shopping for folks. So yeah.
what kind of cologne are you wearing right now?
Hey man, you know what, man? My go-to right now, you're gonna laugh probably as soon as I get it out of my mouth. My go-to right now is two of them, Ferragamo and YSL. But I need to get that Tom Ford. It's crazy because I always wear cologne, but I don't really know colognes. So maybe you can help me out with that. Get me together on that. Let me know what's hot. I got that. I'm gonna get that Tom Ford because now you said it. So could you please, bring me up to? I smell okay, but I need to kind of, I need to do better with that. So if we could do a trade off or something.
I got you. I'm gonna tell you right now. If you want to know, anything that's heavily essential oil based is always gonna be your friend. It lasts the longest. That's one. And two, it's more for the demure man, so to speak, right? A man who's very sophisticated. You definitely go for more of your perfumes that have essential oil bases in it.
Right.
Those are your favorites.
Right.
So, and ombre leather definitely works for you. If you can't get Tuscan leather,
Yeah.
which is a limited edition thing, only certain people had it. I haven't had it, but ombre leather is a
Okay,
good
I
one.
gotta get that. I gotta get me some of that then.
Yeah, they gonna love. Hey, listen. She gonna love you. Miss Ivy gonna love you, man.
I hope so, man. Whatever it takes.
By any means necessary. How about you, Mike?
Whatever.
Man, what's your cologne looking like right now?
Um, Givenchy Pi Air, and my go-to Burberry Weekend. I'm still stuck on Burberry Weekend.
Hey, Burberry's nice. I'm not gonna lie to you. Burberry
Yeah.
and YSLY is good too.
Okay.
Just in case you ever have opportunity, if you are into more of those type of notes, the more cleaner notes, as opposed to more masculine type notes, that's one of your favorite ones. It's very
that's
clean.
me. I'm into the cleaner, airier, more, Yeah.
Somebody lost their mind trying to call me while I'm doing the podcast. Go ahead.
Yeah, so that's all I'm gonna do today, man. I appreciate the opportunity, man. This been real cool.
Yeah. This was great. This was great.
You know, I definitely could, man. Appreciate it, man.
No problem, man. Hey, listen, the show is going to only get better, folks. It's only getting better, man. I finally found my 2 co-hosts now, right? So shout out to both those ladies. They'll be on the next episode. You know how that goes. But right now, what's important is what we're doing right now. And I think this is for me another piece of therapy. I think what made me start podcasting was therapy, the therapeutics of it all, getting the ability to get to know myself and get things off my chest and really get to evolve in front of people and get connected with people. So I thank y'all very much for even being a part of it. I really appreciate it for sure. So we got to do this again sometime, man. We definitely got to do this again.
Yeah, absolutely. Opportunity. It's a lot of Ivy right here, man. Whole lot of Ivy.
It's a lot of it. I think in between the squares alone, there's too much for the world to handle. And I think God knew that.
It's heavy. This is heavy. I'm telling you. This is heavy.
It's not for the faint or the weak.
No, not at all. Not at all.
But so, hey, man, as always, it's Ivy Knows Best. Thank y'all very much for being a part of this wonderful experience for me. If you could, please subscribe. Pass it along. Let everybody know what's up. Do everything you can do to ensure that this gets out to everybody you know. Follow my men on IG. Follow me on IG at Mr. Eric Ivey. And thank y'all very much for tuning in as always. Y'all take it easy.
All right.